5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dzień dobry, Państwo. I am Dr. Michelle S. Pawlowski, and I welcome you from the heartland of America, Chicago, Illinois. From the very chilly fields of Wisconsin, President Trump was there at a rally Saturday night, and it looked very cold. From the sunshine state of Florida, and today we are coming to you from the beautiful hills of the wineries in Virginia to this very special program on WPNA Radio 1490, the Polish National Alliance Radio out of Chicago, Illinois. Our program is being picked up by Polish radio stations throughout the United States and is live streamed on the internet. We now have also a YouTube channel where you can view our entire broadcast. Please visit YouTube under the heading Polish Americans for Trump 2020 Show. Now, today we have a very special guest. Robert Joskowiak, a true Polish patriot. He lives in the state of Virginia, which this year marks the 412th anniversary of the arrival in 412th anniversary of the arrival of the first Polish settlers in America in Jamestown, Virginia. He has received his education from that outstanding school, Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, which I was able to visit with him last Christmas time. Robert is the Honorary Consul, and that is a very important position. Robert is the Honorary Consul for the Republic of Poland in the state of Virginia. He is also president of the Chopin Foundation of Virginia, where he has sponsored many Chopin concerts to educate the public on the tremendous music composed by Chopin, a Polish gift to the world. Robert is also an accomplished citizen. He is an accomplished citizen because he has worked in many civic affairs and successfully lobbied. He has successfully lobbied the Virginia State Legislature and the governor to establish October 15th every year in the state of Virginia to recognize the contributions of Tadeusz Kościuszko to the United States in our Revolutionary War and our fight for the American dream. Robert, welcome to our show today. We would like you to begin by giving us a brief overview of your responsibilities as Honorary Consul, the Chopin Foundation, your civic activity, getting the state of Virginia to recognize Tadeusz Kościuszko, and comment on President Trump and Poland. Robert, welcome. You have the floor.
Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Polish Americans, Americans of Polish heritage. Welcome, great honor. Thank you so much for the great introduction, Michelle. Very generous. Appreciate very much on behalf of all of us here, Americans of Polish heritage in Virginia. First of all, just wanted to commend you on your history lesson there. Virginia is the cradle of Polish Americans. The Poles came in 1608 to Jamestown. We've been here from the very beginning. We've taken active role in politics, in economics, science, and education. So Virginia is certainly, in my opinion, the heart of America in a sense of Polonia. This is where the Poles came in first. Now, as an honorary consul of Poland, and again, I'm here actually voicing my personal opinions on most of the issues rather than official opinions of Polish government or Polish Foreign Ministry. But it's a great honor. I'm the first honorary consul ever appointed to Virginia. And that's a double honor because Virginia is a special state in the US history as well. And my responsibilities are to promote Polish economy, Polish culture, science, education, and international exchange. That's what I do, Michelle, in a nutshell.
Well, that's great to understand. I mean, it's very important for people, American citizens across the United States and in the state of Virginia, understand what the Polish government is doing and how it relates to our daily lives. Now, can you tell us about the Chopin Foundation?
We're very fortunate for the last 15 years to be engaged in promotion of Polish culture and Polish music. We have a great pleasure to be friends with Lady Blanka Rosenstiel, Honorary Consul of Poland in Florida, who happens to live part of the year in our beautiful Virginia, to become a Virginia chapter of Chopin Foundation of the U.S. based in Miami. So obviously we believe that promotion of Polish culture and music is fundamentally important in promotion of economy and trade exchange and everything else that follows. So through Chopin, I guess, and culture, we can reach out the hearts of everyone.
That's great to know. Now, Robert, you have accomplished something that other states have not accomplished. From my perspective, my understanding, you were able to successfully lobby the Virginia legislature with the support of some of your local representatives to get October 15th recognized in the state of Virginia every year, Tadeusz Kościuszko Day. Tell us how you did that.
And it's interesting, lobbying sounds very official and formal. What I've done is I worked very closely with my delegate, Nick Freitas, who is actually running for U.S. Congress, and we should all, as Polish Americans, support someone that has Poland in his heart. And the way we did, pretty much, he was 82nd Airborne, he's a Green Beret, so he recognized immediately the contribution that General Tadeusz Kościuszko had to U.S. freedom through the Battle of Saratoga, later to creation of West Point. It was a rather easy process for Nick Freitas to push it through the General Assembly. The vote was unanimous. Delegates were so enthused about General Kościuszko that they also learned about Kazimierz Pułaski and made his day on October 11th as well. So from now on, Virginia is only second state in the United States that celebrates the two Polish Americans, or American generals who were born in Poland. October 11th, Kazimierz Pułaski, and October 15th, Tadeusz Kościuszko. So that makes us very proud. We don't have huge amount of Polonia here, but we are certainly active, and we flex our muscle when we need to.
Well, you do have Polonia in key areas of the state, really around the Washington D.C. area where you live, and Newport News area. Hey, Virginia is a very important state, and it's great to have a fantastic leader like you representing the Polish community throughout the state. I mean, it's an honor. It's an honor for us to be here with you today.
Thank you, Michelle. And it's kind of interesting, and I want to bridge maybe to something that's going to impact all of us. It was General Kazimierz Pułaski who said, wherever the men fight for freedom, there's Poland. And I thought about this for a second, and I said, we can't think of a more important fight for freedom that's been taking place right now in the United States. We have two different visions of the future. One is the socialism, one is capitalism. And in order for us to heal as a nation, we have to agree to some fundamentals. So my thought was, and I just shared this first thing today, was can we agree that in order for us to move forward, we have to make a decision whether we're going to be a republic, a capitalist nation, or we're going to be a socialist nation with state ruling all of our affairs. And if we make a decision, then we should follow up on this and say, do we want institutions of learning, colleges and schools to be sources of nurturing a free exchange of information, or just simply an area of propaganda and party messages? Do we want freedom, or do we want groups of people burning and looting the area? So this is a fundamental decision. It's less about the President Trump or whatever the names of the person might be that's representing one vision versus the other. It's more about the vision. Are we supporting the capitalism? Are we supporting the freedoms? Are we supporting our Constitution? So that's in my mind, this is the most important thing about this election. And President Trump actually has done a lot for us, from the visa-free travel to the military base to energy deals that Poland had signed to make us independent. All of those things make Poland much stronger.
You're absolutely correct. And what do you hear from Polish people on the ground. What's their opinion of President Trump and what he's been doing here and what he's been doing in Poland? You know, President Trump's very first overseas visit was to Poland. And I know that the Polish people were honored to have him present.
Historically, you can't neglect the significance of President Trump's visit to Poland. He sent a strong message to Russia, to other Western European countries as well, that Poland is an important ally. And we didn't have that message in previous administration, where President Obama withdrew from the shield installation on the anniversary of Russian invasion on September 17th, which was a double insult to the Polish people and Polish citizens all over the world. So we have two different visions. And again, people here in the United States, we have to make a decision. Poles have fought for U.S. independence since 1608, pretty much. So I think we have a great role to play in this election. It is not going to take much for the Polish bloc to sway election towards President Trump in areas like Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Nebraska, Florida potentially, as long as we are unified, as long as we vote as a single bloc. And we should put our political animosities aside and say, what is the best for the United States? What's the best for Poland? And based on this, the choice should be very clear.
You're correct. You know, Polish people, the Polish voters helped President Trump cross that threshold to victory in 2016. We need every Polish voter to come out and vote for 2020. What are some of the other issues that you feel are important for Polish Americans when they think about going to vote this year?
Well, I think Polish Americans are not much different than other ethnic American groups. We care about security and safety. We care about economy. We care about healthcare. Those are some of the issues we care about. So, in my opinion, it's who do we trust? Who is more qualified person to provide us with better economy? Donald Trump in 4 years has accomplished tremendously. Has done a tremendous job providing jobs and lowering the regulations and laws that prevent the business from growing. So we could see it not only in the stock market, but most importantly, many of the jobs, thousands of jobs coming back to the United States. On the other hand, we have candidate Biden that in 47 years had really no ideas and suddenly now comes in with a solution to all those problems that we helped to create. So, Polish people are intelligent. They're smart. They figure things out and do the right thing. That's what I believe in.
Yes, you're right. And you're a very smart businessman. Can you give us a little light on your business activities?
Well, I'm still employed. I still work for a living. I still pay my taxes, and I enjoy real estate. I enjoy investment in companies, and certainly now that we are in very conducive area. Obviously, the markets are uncertain, and who knows what's going to happen on November 3rd. But we still have a choice. We are still in the game, and we still rally. And people like yourself and many of the people that work with you and many of our colleagues are working tirelessly to support the president, to support the idea of free economy and a free republic. Actually, a couple of days ago, I get those daily vocabulary things from dictionary.com. And one of the words came out that caught my attention. It was in Latin. I don't really speak Latin. The word was totis viribus. And what it means is with one's all might, with one last fiber. And I thought about this and said, what a timely words to learn, that we all should do what we can to vote for the president and vote for continuation of our republic with the last of our fibers, with all the breath we have, with all the energy we have left. And there you are, people like yourself that are, successful. They've been successful serving in the government, working for FEMA and some of the organizations. Yet you are still engaged and very active in promoting our republic and protecting our republic and making sure that our values are going to stay for the next generation to come.
That's so cogent. You're correct. You did mention about Polish people very smart. All of the Polish people I meet are very smart. I don't know if you want to comment. Joe Biden made some disparaging remarks a while back, well, last Thursday at his town hall meeting about Polish people. Do you want to comment on that?
If you look at the statistics about Polish Americans, we are very patriotic. Polish Americans constitute 20% of all the American soldiers that volunteered to fight for the World War II. 1 in 5 of American soldiers that fought was of Polish heritage. We are not one of 5 in our population of 350 million people. So we are disproportionately greater represented in the military and very patriotic as an ethnic group. So Polish Americans have suffered tremendously and fought for this country with bravery and valor. And for candidate Biden to compare Poland to some dictatorship state like is totally inappropriate. And Polish Americans should just think for a second. And if somebody as a presidential candidate treats Poles or Polish Americans this way, it can only get worse should he become a president, because this is other people's doing, creating policies that will not be pro-Poland, will not be pro-Polish Americans. So in the end, it's going to hurt us all.
You're right. You are so right. You know what? I've got a list of things that I put together, voters guide for Polish Americans to think about. These are the difference in policies between President Trump and Joe Biden. I just like to go down the list for our listeners and for you, Robert. President Trump wants to give us further reductions in taxes. Joe Biden wants to increase taxes on the American public by $4 trillion. President Trump wants to keep police funding and perhaps even increase it. But Joe Biden wants to reduce and redirect police funding. You know what's happened in some of those cities that reduced their police funding today? Hey, they're having problems. President Trump wants to give parents the choice in education. Give people, no matter where they live, the opportunity to decide if they want to go to a charter school versus public schools. Joe Biden is against that. President Trump wants to reopen the schools and business. Biden does not want to do that. President Trump sees China as a threat. Biden says, no, it's not a threat. And look what I found yesterday when I was campaigning. This, I don't know if you can read it. It says, China is for Biden. That's a very clever sign that one homemaker or one homeowner in my area came up with. I thought it was very clever. President Trump wants to make sure that every voter has an ID so that we know who they are and they are legally registered to vote and they are citizens of this country. Biden is against that. Biden wants to increase gun control. President Trump does not want to increase gun control. We have enough gun laws on the books already, and I am a lifetime member of the National Rifle Association. Now, for the people in Ohio, Pennsylvania, the Gulf states, Oklahoma, anybody, and even in Illinois who have energy industries as part of their economy, Biden is against fracking, against coal, and against gas. He wants to transition the energy industry into the Green New Deal, that concept that was brought up by AOC plus 3. President Trump supports the energy industry. You can't fly an airplane without fossil fuel, okay? And what does that do to our economy? Millions of people will be out of work getting rid of the energy industry in the United States. Biden wants to release criminals without bail. Absolutely not. From President Trump's perspective, dangerous to society, dangerous people have to be locked up. President Trump wants to build up our military, keep it going. Biden is opposed to that. Late term abortions. Now, let me talk about this a second. You know, as Polish Americans, we are interested in life, protecting life. Most of us are Catholics. Late term abortions, Biden is for. Late term abortions, Trump is against. Trump is building up the southern wall, which Biden is opposed to. Now, one of the things that is impacting our country and which is great for farmers and manufacturers across the board is the trade deals that President Trump has executed and started. That will help keep U.S. jobs here, bringing back manufacturing to the United States that Obama said were gone forever. Biden is opposed to that. And President Trump wants to help cities that are having problems with riots, and Biden is opposed to that. So those are some of the policies overall, policy differences that I see between Biden and President Trump. What do you think, uh, Robert?
Well, Michelle, first of all, without a right to life, no other rights are necessary. They don't apply. So first of all, we have to secure the right to life, and then the Second Amendment and some of the other rights come to play. So this is very crucial, especially for late-term abortion. There's no excuse for anyone to make decision when the child is born healthy and alive and terminate the life. There is no word for this except murder. As far as some of the other ones, our congressman, hopefully future congressman Nick Freitas, friend of Poland, said, never trust a politician who wants to take your Second Amendment rights away and defund police at the same time. We had seen what happened in Seattle and Portland, where hordes of people, agitators, were destroying the neighborhood, and people weren't allowed or able to protect themselves. There was no police who were given stand-down orders to defend the people. So that's something that's unconscionable. As far as some of those green energy jobs, didn't we have that before 8 years ago? One was called Solyndra, I think. It spent billions of our dollars and was supposed to bring the new jobs for people that never came in. There's people here, and we need to have our industrial park ready. We need to have our manufacturing ready. Our pharmaceutical companies, 90% of Tylenol is produced overseas. I didn't know that. So we need to bring some of those manufacturing companies back to the United States and create the prosperity people enjoyed in Ohio, in Michigan, in Detroit areas. Not everybody is going to work in the green industry. I get it. But people need to have the trades, and we need to have craftsmen the way we used to have in the past.
You're so correct. You know, people do not understand that most of our drugs today are manufactured overseas. The reason why they're manufactured overseas is because of the costs involved. Well, they get cheaper labor in China. We need to bring back our own capability in the United States to be dependent upon ourselves, not to be dependent upon people who may not be our enemies today, but could be our enemies tomorrow. And we are certainly threatened by China today. You know, I am a strong proponent of making certain that every single business in the United States is responsible for doing their operations in the US. You know, Apple is a tremendous company. I have an Apple phone, but you know that the majority of their manufacturing is in China because of labor costs and because of the technology involved there. But President Trump has negotiated with Apple to build a new plant here so we can be less dependent upon foreigners that are not based in our country. What do you think about that, Robert?
Uh, I think this pandemic certainly should be a good opportunity for all of us to realize that we can't depend on others to provide our necessities. And President Trump has talked about decoupling of our economy, making sure that our supply chain doesn't go necessarily from China or to China only, that we focus on the U.S. involvement of companies who can manufacture, who can produce the goods here. That's where technology is. That's where innovation happens. We don't need to go to China to manufacture this stuff. The reason they're less expensive is they use slave laborers. They use the Muslim minorities in concentration camps. They also use, they stole technology that we have spent billions and billions of dollars developing. And that's not right. So I'm definitely proud of President Trump taking a stand and saying no to China and no to Chinese theft, and making a stand for the U.S. economy to just decouple with China. China needs more us than we need China. And people need to realize that Joe Biden, unfortunately, needs China and his family because of the shadowy dealings they've been having with the foreign nations. And that's a travesty. That's something that people need to keep in mind.
You're right. Mr. Consul, if you had the opportunity to speak with President Trump today, what would you say to him?
Well, first of all, I would thank President Trump for continuing the over 400 years of Polish-American economic and political and historic traditions. Poland is in the heart of Europe. Poland is the defender of the European freedoms, and Poland is crucial American ally. So this is very important. Secondly, I would encourage President to continue with economic reforms. We need healthcare reforms. We need lowering of the drug codes that the President had initiated. Those are some phenomenal things. We need new jobs here, new technologies. We need improvement in our education, so education is more affordable, not in the way that people say it is, because in Poland, education was free, but in order to get into college, you had to beat probably 9 out of 10 other applicants. So it wasn't easily accessible. It was inexpensive, but it wasn't fully accessible. So we need to create ways through online virtual learning that would change, that would definitely create opportunities for people to become more engaged in economy, more engaged in continuous education, because that's what life will be like in the future. We'll have to continue learning. We'll have to continue gaining new skills. It's not going to be the way the minute you finish your college and get your degree or diploma, you'll never have to read another book. Those days are long gone. And another thing I would just encourage President is to be more conciliatory in his tone. I think that's the biggest draw. President Trump, he is who he is. He's straightforward, not very diplomatic. I would expect more from a billionaire and somebody that has gone to a proper private schools and colleges. We are better than that. He can speak in more eloquently and in more compassionate fashion as well, to include all of us. I think some of us can take education in more complex form. We don't need just a basic one sentence blurbs of some sort. But again, I don't focus on the person. I focus on what the person does. I focus on the deed rather than words, and that's the key with President Trump. See what the man does rather than what he says.
That's right. He did more in 47 months than Joe Biden did in 47 years in politics. and Joe Biden keeps on promising what he's going to do, but he never talks about what he did do. So listen, I want to thank you so very much for being with us, Robert, today. Are there any other comments you'd like to give to our audience and people across the United States of how, this program focuses on Polish Americans, but it touches Americans across the country, okay? Not only Polish Americans, but people who are citizens of the United States. Do you have a special message then?
Yes, in the end, Michelle, we're all Americans. All the different administrations have tried to divide us and break us into ethnic groups and race groups, Spanish Americans, Chinese Americans, what have you. We're all Americans, and we should judge each other based on our traits, our merits, and our character. rather than our national ethnicity or skin color or race, et cetera, et cetera. So my message to the Polish Americans and Americans in general is, do the right thing. Vote regardless of your party line. Vote for freedom. Vote for protection of our Constitution. Vote for the Republican way of life. Vote for free markets. Vote for security and safety and safe borders. For the common sense. If people do this, I think we'll have a great future. President Trump is not going to stay forever. Obviously, he's going to go away and do his own stuff in a couple of years, in 4 years. So hopefully we'll have new leaders that will emerge. And one of them I truly want Polish Americans or Americans to look at is Nick Freitas from Virginia. Up and coming guy, young guy, dynamic guy, a great patriot. He served in Iraq 2 tours. This is the people that we need in helm. He doesn't want to be a permanent politician. We also have Daniel Gate, who runs as a senator. He lost his leg fighting for this country. He's a PhD from Georgia. Phenomenal guy too, not a career politician. Those are the true servants, and we need more people like that in our country. Thank you.
You're correct, Robert. Listen, I want to thank you so very much from the bottom of our heart for coming on our show today. What you have done for the Polish people, not only in the United States, but in the state of Virginia, is really remarkable. I commend you from what you have been able to accomplish within the state legislature, your relationship with the elected officials in that state to support them for election, those who are Republicans and those who believe and have the same values that we have, the American dream. Okay. I want to thank also the listeners today who have taken the time to listen to our special guest and take his words of wisdom to heart. You know, we've reviewed for you also the difference between President Trump and Joe Biden. There is no doubt that 2020 has been a time of unprecedented challenges for all of us. Thankfully, we have a president with the toughness, energy, and resolve to ensure that America's best life. We have a president with the toughness, energy, and resolve to ensure that America's best days still lie ahead. My tongue got a little tied there. A vote to re-elect President Trump is a vote for a safer, stronger, and more prosperous America for all Americans. Vote for Donald J. Trump for president. Dziękuję bardzo. Audience, we'll see you again tomorrow. And thank you again, Robert, for being a guest on our show.
Thank you.